Hello, this is Nick, and welcome back to another episode of Talking Politics. Today is Wednesday, September 22nd, 2021, and this is episode 45. In this episode, I'm going to talk about basically what's in the news. Some of the things they want to talk about and don't want to talk about is Biden and his disasters. They want to sweep that underneath the carpet. They want to pretend that all of Biden's failures didn't happen. They want to make it go away. They want to prop Biden up on a pedestal and pretend that Biden's doing a good job, which is difficult to do because he's a walking disaster, a talking disaster. Everything Biden touches turns to shit. But on the other hand, what they want to do is talk about Trump. They want to ignore Biden's failures, his current failures, and talk about Trump and what he might have done but didn't actually do. All the possibilities that never took place. Not what actually took place, but just a bunch of fictitious activities. For example, they still want to focus on January 6th and say that Trump tried to overthrow the government, that there was an insurrection, when there was not an insurrection. Once again, as I talked about in previous podcasts, that they want to pretend that the months long, and even still today, all the riots, all the disaster, all the looting done by the left and their supporters, they want to pretend that it was nothing. They want to ignore it, but they want to focus on January 6th. The other day, there was a small protest that was all over the news, and I want to say, I think there was maybe 100 Republican supporters that went to this thing. I can't remember how many, but they were supposedly outnumbered by the press, by law enforcement, by the possibility of them calling in the military reservists or whatever, National Guard for backup. And then it turned into a little bit of a wah-wah, a little bit of a failure because it wasn't as big as the Democrats had hoped it would be. They wanted something big and huge that they could talk about, something that could help them cover up all the disasters done by Biden. But it wasn't as bad as they hoped it would be. I think they said there was about 5, 6, 7 people that were arrested. One of them was a police officer who was trying to fit in with the Republicans, trying to probably be an instigator, trying to fit in, and he ended up being arrested, and then they just let him go afterwards. But another thing they want to talk about, the media, on Trump is they want to talk about some memoirs or whatever by a former attorney of Trump that says Trump wanted to overturn the elections with Mike Pence. Didn't happen. But see, the Democrats want to ignore what actually happened, such as with Biden and his disasters in Afghanistan, where people even now are still being hunted down, murdered, beheaded, tortured, women and girls being raped. forced into marriage, forced into sex slaves, all this kind of stuff. The Democrats want to completely ignore that and focus on Trump because Trump is still a contender. Trump wants to get back into politics. He scares the shit out of the Democrats, which forces the Democrats to focus on Trump and attack Trump and to spend more money on attacking Trump. For example, in California, it baffles me that the Republicans really don't get a lot of money support like the Democrats do. I believe during the elections in California to overturn Gavin, I think it was like 70 million that the Democrats were able to get for Gavin Newsom in their propaganda to try to keep Gavin in office, which they finally end up doing, and only like about 8 million, I think, for the Republican side. Why is that so? I am thinking that the 8 million is probably mostly done by the people, whereas the 70 million was probably done by corrupt billionaires and millionaires or whatever that wanted to keep the Democrats in office because the Democrats are giving kickbacks and corruption to the businesses that support them. There's a lot of kickbacks going on, a lot of corruption, and they have a lot of sweet deals with the Democrats. And in order to keep those sweet deals going on, they throw money at the Democrats left and right, which makes it difficult to fight them because of all those sweet deals, to where the Democrats were able to spend millions more on their propaganda. Plus, I'm sure they somehow stole it. Plus, it's also a deeply Democrat state in California, which is bad because a lot of the money in taxes are spent on California. We should just completely cut off California. Just just completely cut it off. It needs to be done differently to where we're not spending so much money in California. And then let them just fail. Let all the migrants go to California. Hell with them. Just kick it out of the United States too. Don't even let it be part of the United States. Just kick it out. Throw it away. Let the Democrats handle it. It'll turn to shit anyways. Already is, but they're using tax dollars to prop it up. Anyways, back to the news. So what else is going on? I know there was a few other things that I read about. Won't be able to talk about it until probably as soon as this podcast is over. Then I'll remember some of that stuff. And oh well, right? Well, anyways, if any of you would like to join my podcast, send me an email on here, and we'll see if you can get a join. I have an email that you can join. It's talkingpolitics@hotmail.com. And send me a message, and we'll see if we can make some content. Anyways, you have a good day, and take care.